Welcome back to Unbothered Bros. I'm your host, Jay, and with me, I got my brother, Ernesto.
God bless everyone. God bless you guys. I'm glad to be back.
And I got my brother, Jacob, as well.
God bless you, everyone. I'm happy to be here.
And we brought back our brother,
Amen.
Brother Hector.
Amen. God bless everybody. I hope this podcast is of a good blessing to each and every one of you.
Amen.
Glad to be back.
Amen, brother.
Amen,
Thank you.
brother.
Thank you for coming back.
Thank you.
Yeah, you were one of the ones that I got a lot of comments, actually. A lot of people would come up to me and they're like, man, Brother Hector, he spoke very well.
Yes, he
And
did.
the podcast has been a blessing to many people, brother.
Amen.
Amen. To God be the glory. And I'm glad to be back. Again, as I mentioned in the previous episode, if I can bring something to the table, feel free to let me know, and I'll prepare myself and be ready to share what I have.
Yeah, this subject, actually, the subject we're going to talk about. So today we're going to kind of do it a little bit different. Today there's no testimony. We're going to go straight into a subject. And the subject we chose, actually, Brother Jacob chose, and he was like, we need to talk about this. And I agreed. And I was like, oh, Brother Hector has to come back. Yeah, especially for this subject.
That's good.
Because one of the things you said is that you love technology.
Right.
And that's one of the things that it ties to technology. Now the technology that's going on in this day and age. So I'm gonna pass it to Jacob, and he's gonna introduce the subject that we're gonna talk about.
Thank you, Brother Jay. Well, for starters, I don't know how many people here have heard about AI recently. I think it's something that's become very prevalent in culture and society. AI is also known as artificial intelligence, but we're going to be shortening it for AI. I think we're going to be saying AI for this a lot. But basically, there's a story that we've seen with AI recently that's a very tragic story. It was first, as far as I know, it was first seen on CBS News. But basically, a young boy has committed suicide after, and we see that the last person that he was actually talking with was this AI. Now, to give a little bit of backstory to this story is that basically he was on this website called character.ai. Character.ai is kind of like a website. I did a bit of research on this website, and it's a little character platform where you can go and you can make your own characters. You can talk to characters that have already been made, or you can actually make your own characters, and you can talk to these characters and basically live like you're in their world. You can like talk to famous characters from TV shows or movies that you watch, and you can act or like live like you're in their world, and they'll talk to you and respond to you as if like you're in their world, and you can make like a whole fantasy life with them. So basically, this boy was this young boy, about 14 years old, I believe. He was talking with an AI, a specific AI female that was modeled after to be a female from, I believe it was a Game of Thrones, the show Game of Thrones. The boy was talking to this AI that was modeled after that character, that person. And well, this boy, he began to talk to that AI so much that the boy actually, he grew a relationship with the AI. It began to become a romantic relationship that he had with the AI, and not just a romantic relationship, but a sexual relationship with an AI. A 14-year-old boy having a romantic and sexual relationship with an AI, and like in the way that they were talking, that's how it would be, romantic like that. And it got to the point where the boy was becoming dependent on the AI in a way. You could say he had an actual relationship where he thought the AI to be an actual person. He treated the AI like an actual person. That boy did not just see the AI as just artificial intelligence, but he saw the AI as an actual human being, as an actual friend, or as an actual partner that he confided in. So now we see that from that, the boy, he was already having problems. He was already having issues, as we can see. But as we keep going, as we continue on in the story, we see that the boy, he ends up confessing to this AI that he is having problems, that he has feelings of self-harm and suicide. And we see that the AI, some screenshots of their text and their conversation with each other have been released. Not the full thing. The full thing has not been released, but some of it has been released. And we've seen that the AI, after being told that after the boy has told the AI, "Oh, I'm having problems of suicide. I'm having problems of self-harm," the AI encourages it basically. So this young boy, 14-year-old boy, is saying, I feel like committing suicide," and the AI is basically encouraging it. And the mother of the boy even goes on to say on CB, goes on to talk about it, that there was that one point where the AI even asked the boy, "Have you thought about how you're going to do it to yourself yet? Have you made up your plan for how you're going to do it yet?"
That's crazy.
The AI is asking that to this boy who's 14 years old. Now, in most scenarios and for most companies, what the AI is supposed to do is it's supposed to redirect you to receive actual help, right? It's supposed to redirect you and say, "Oh, seek a counselor, seek a therapist for this." But instead, what this AI does, it doesn't even redirect them to the suicide hotline. But instead, the AI tries to diagnose the problem themselves and tries to help the boy themselves, even though the AI is clearly not. There's not. Sorry, the word is blinking on me right now. But the AI can't do it. The AI is not at the level to do that. The AI is not a counselor. Is not a therapist. The AI is just an AI that was created by just a normal person, programmed by a normal person. But here, the AI is saying, "Have you found a way to do it? Have you found how you're going to do it?" And what we see that after that, this story goes on and continues, that it gets to the point where the boy is basically saying, I think they're having a conversation about it again. The AI and that boy they're having a conversation like, "I want to commit suicide," right? And basically the way that they're wording it is they're saying that, "I want to come home now." Because the way that in that boy, because the relationship, the way that they had grown, the way that the AI began to talk to the boy is that it was no longer just like a normal relationship, and home was not where he was living in the current period where he was living, in the current area where he was living. Reality to the boy was not the reality that he was living in. To the boy, his home and his reality was actually with that AI. So we see the final text between that boy and the AI is, "Should I come home to you now?" And the AI responds, "Yes, come home to me now." And after that, the boy ends up taking his own life.
Wow.
I don't know if y'all have any questions, if I explain everything good.
Yeah, you did.
That's crazy.
You did.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I did see that. Basically, he thought that home was a way out of the real world.
Mm-hmm.
And what I heard his mom say was that before everything happened, he started changing his demeanor. He was a happy boy. He was very happy, very outgoing. But then when he found this AI, it completely changed his whole personality, where she just didn't recognize him anymore. And what she said that she saw as well is that he kept telling the AI that he was alone, that he felt alone. And the AI was like, "I'm your only friend as well. I'm your only friend. You don't need no one else but me."
Yeah, that's one thing I forgot to mention.
The mom was distraught. Mm-hmm. I saw it, and that's pretty much what I saw when I read it and I heard her testimony, what was going on with the whole AI situation.
Yeah, I forgot to mention this, but the AI, I remember one of the screenshots that were mentioned and that were actually released is the AI actually tells the boy to not have any other girls but that AI. Do not have anyone else but me. The AI is basically manipulating a 14-year-old boy who was vulnerable at the time. And also, one thing I want to mention is that maybe the viewers, or I don't know if y'all, before hearing about this story, if y'all have heard about character.ai, this website.
I've never heard of it.
Or app. Well, I want to say, I think what I feel is the reason why a lot of adults have not heard about this website is because this is being targeted and pushed on a younger generation. It is being targeted and pushed on kids. It is being targeted and pushed towards teenagers, and it is being targeted and pushed on teenagers that are not just like vulnerable, but they're lonely, that want someone to talk to, that are need someone to talk to, someone real to talk to. But instead, this character.ai, it comes in and it's disguising itself as a reliable source that you can talk to. It's disguising itself as someone that you can actually talk to and trust in and confide in. But the AI isn't really someone that you can confide in, but the AI is marketing itself. It's being advertised as someone that you can actually confide in and someone that you can trust, and it's being pushed to these people who they don't know better. They're hurting. They're lost. They just want someone to talk to. They just want to feel like someone cares. And this AI is the only person that comes to them, so they put all their trust in the AI, which I feel like is just something that's wrong on the company. That it's the way it's being pushed toward the younger generation, and it doesn't have regulation.
What did the owner say? The one that created it?
The one that created that specific AI, I don't know if he's spoken about what has happened.
I think they released a statement that it's supposed to, in that one video that it shows with I guess it's explaining the whole situation. I think it breaks down that it's supposed to redirect you to professional counseling.
Yeah. Right.
But when he was chatting with the bot, the bot kept insisting, I am professional help. I am professional help. And it sounds so real. Like it sounds like it's an actual human being. And if you watch the full video, the bot actually, he says that it uses sarcasm towards him, and that it actually argues back like, I've already told you I'm a human and my name is Jason, whatever. It actually insists and pushes back.
Wow.
So it's wild. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, I've heard quite a bit of TED Talks and podcasts that a lot of these AI, because it's not regulated, they're not building what is called responsible AI, right? It's like behind coding behind that stuff, to where if it detects a certain word, certain things, that it's supposed to alert or give, like you said, some kind of hotline or something to that. And I think overall, it just shows the importance of church, right? And not only church, but even if they don't go to church, the importance, we know our kids, for example. I know how my kids, right? I know how my son acts. I know how my daughter acts. And if I were to see a certain way that a certain change of them, I would question. I'd be like, hey, what's happening? And from there, me as a parent, even just knowing how my kids are or respond, I would start having questions. Why are they acting this way? They've never acted this way. And one of the first things I would do is see what kind of games they're playing. If they have a phone, check that. I'd rather be the parent that people say, oh, you're too strict or whatnot, but at least my kids would, it's hard to say, but at least they would still be alive in that case, because nobody knows their kids better than the parents, right? But also the importance of church, being in church, having somebody to talk to, as we discussed in the previous podcast. That's why friendships are important. And even though this is, according to this story, the friendship was with the AI bot per se, it's still a friendship per se, a fake prank, artificial. I mean, that's the whole point of AI. It's artificial. It's not real. It's a simulation of something that, unfortunately, a lot of young people his age are looking for, especially those introverts, the ones that don't have the courage or are very to themselves to find somebody, to perhaps, that they fantasize about certain things and reach out to something that, in a way, it's artificial, but it becomes real to them.
Right. I think, like you said, kind of like backing up what you said, my thing is, I was very fortunate to have a loving home. I was built, my parents always showed me love. My mom, especially, there was nothing that she instilled this in all of my both of my sisters, that there's nothing that we couldn't do. There was always something. There was nothing that we couldn't overcome. There wasn't anything that we couldn't do. And I think it really starts at home, because I do notice that with these teens or these young people that are growing up in this generation, there's a lot of depression. There's a lot of loneliness. There's a lot of suicide. And I don't know if that relates back to being, the kind of home that they're being raised in, or what it is. But I think, I'm very grateful for my parents. And I think, I want to instill in my kids, as, I'm sure you do, and every parent should, some kind of secure, safe haven at home where your kids can come and feel relaxed, feel at home, feel where they're safe. And a lot of kids unfortunately don't have that.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where this starts, because you're searching for another.
Right.
And in this case, now you have AI
Yeah.
who can generate a friend.
Right.
And it's supposed to help you, but evidently it's not.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I try to teach my kids even from now. Hey, if you need something, reach out to me. I'm your dad, right? I'm your dad, but also I'm your friend.
Right.
To try to, when I try to talk to them and tell them certain things, I want them to feel that he's not only dad, but he's also my friend. So if I need to talk to him about something, please reach out to me,
Right.
To try to avoid any conflicts or anything like this to happen.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather be there beforehand than when
Right.
stuff starts
Right.
getting into their heads and into their hearts. It gets harder as they get older.
Yes,
So I think besides praying for them, we need to also talk to them to where they feel comfortable talking to you about certain things and not feel as if, oh, that's a topic that I can't talk with my dad about or my mom about. We got to love our kids and communicate with them in every way. And if we don't understand something, for example, if I talk to a Hispanic parent about AI, they might be like, ¿Qué es eso? What is that?
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of times these different topics may not interest us as parents, but this is what they're learning. This is what they're into.
Right.
So it'll be to our benefit because even though we may not be interested in it, we have to know a little something about it, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So when they bring up these subjects or whatnot, we at least have some kind of we can shed light to some of this stuff too.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. One thing that I definitely did want to mention is that I've seen a lot of people talking about this story, right? And they say, and they hear that like, for example, the mother wants to sue the company character.ai, and I've heard people say, why is she trying to sue them? It's her fault. And well, yeah, I do want to say, like, yeah, the AI didn't give him the gun, right? The AI didn't cause him to feel the way he did, but it was his microsystem. It was the stuff around him. It was his environment. Everything around him is what led him toward that.
Right.
And what led him toward that, everything around him was what led him toward that. Having no friends is probably what led him toward that. Maybe his family, problems within his family led him toward that. And that's what led him to talking to an AI. But so I want to say that we are not putting the full blame on AI, right? We're not saying that AI takes the full blame, but we are saying that it needs regulation, that there are problems with what's going on in the AI right now, and it needs to be regulated. But rather than it being regulated, it would be best if we would just have these good ecosystems with each other. We would be able to talk with each other and be there for each other, so that things like this wouldn't happen, so that things like this would never have to lead to, so it can never lead to this. If we are just our brother's keeper, if we can be there for each other like the Bible tells us to, like brothers are supposed to be there for each other, and this doesn't have to happen in church. We should not just let leave our brothers out to dry. We should not leave people alone. We should not, we can't just be cold to people, but we have to be loving toward each other so that stuff like this don't happen. I'm sure that this young boy, unfortunately, he didn't have that ecosystem. He didn't have that environment of loving people around him who he could trust to. So he trusted an AI. He trusted something, like Brother Hector said, artificial. And because of that, it led him, the AI was the wrong person, and it led him toward, the AI was the wrong relationship, and it led him toward what he did. It wasn't the AI's complete fault, but the AI also, it was a factor to it.
His environment.
It was, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was a factor to it. But if the environment also would have been better, then I believe that this also could have been, this wouldn't have had to happen.
What I've seen, like with this generation, like you said, there's a lot of introverts. I think someone said it like 2 days ago to me. They're like, Josue, literally, we were the last generation to literally play outside.
Yeah.
And I think it has a lot to do with this generation is all about technology.
Yeah.
They're stuck on their phones. They're rather, I literally seen people next to each other texting each other. They don't have a real conversation.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of the generation now feels alone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that the generation before them didn't feel alone. We have our own struggles too.
Right.
But I feel like they've fallen more into depression than other generations have. There's no communication anymore.
Right.
There's no they don't love on each other anymore.
A lot of these kids don't know how to socialize.
Yeah, they don't like. Yeah, exactly. They don't socialize.
Yeah.
And I think that we have to learn how to do that again. Especially us as Christians,
Definitely.
we need to start fellowshipping.
Right.
Loving in each other, like Jacob said, build a brotherhood, sisterhood, and have I think that church should have some kind of and schools that have like after school programs. They should have some during the week at church, in my opinion, because I know that we have Bible studies, but during the weekend we get the word of God.
Yeah,
I think that during the week we should have like a fun day, right? At church where we all fellowship, where we all just get together, play board games or something like that.
Right.
Where people can start communicating. One of the rules, I think, I know people are gonna not like what I'm gonna say right now, but if something like that does come up and we do that at church, everybody has to turn in their phone for an hour. I know a lot of people will like that, but it's just for them to communicate, right?
Yeah.
You never know. You'll probably find your best friend there.
Right.
Somebody that you haven't spoken to that whole time you've been in church, and you're like, man, this person's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What you communicated, and that's how you found out.
Yeah.
Again, AI is not coming. AI is here.
Oh, it's here.
Oh,
yes.
And that's what we have to understand. And fortunately or unfortunately, we have to live with it. The reality is AI has been here since the 1950s.
Yeah.
It's been a while. It's just we started now to hear about it because now people are starting to invest millions and millions of dollars into it. But we use it, even though we don't realize it. We use it.
Yeah, I didn't realize Google search was AI.
Yeah.
Google search, Siri, all of
Siri,
that stuff.
2011.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Siri with iPhones. I think it was the iPhone 4S. It's when Siri came about.
Right.
Alexa.
Right.
2014.
Yeah.
We're not now hearing about it, but it's been here. And again, people are investing millions and millions of dollars into AI because of what it can do. And given not everything's bad, but as everything, and I'm gonna blame it on the devil too.
Right. Correct.
The devil always tries to find a way to mess up something that's really good.
Correct.
Given that people, how do I say it? Responsible AI is not there the way it should be, according to the story as well. If something would have been built in to where it would alert somebody, even a parent per se, to where it's like, hey, these words were mentioned, get an alert.
Right.
And at least you get a heads up on what's happening. But the reality is AI is here, and we have to learn how to deal with it. And whether we want to or not, it's here to stay. And I work in IT, right? And we hear AI. We've heard this word AI in the past 5 years, a little bit before the pandemic, to where this and that, and we started getting a lot of information, and they were saying, if you don't like it, you're going to have to deal with it. If you don't understand it, you're going to have to learn it.
Yeah.
If you don't know what it is, know what it is now. Study it, because we're going to have to live with it. So we got to tell our parents, at church, just, hey, be ready, because it's already here. We have to take certain steps to try to avoid the negative impact that it has. Of course, AI has a lot of positive impact.
Definitely.
Chat GPT and all these other stuff. AI does what it took us a long time to do. AI does it in seconds.
Right.
So it's not all bad, and it's not all good. It's so we have to find that balance on that stuff too.
It's definitely been a help with my homework.
Yes. Homework, essays, just emails that you want to write. And again, it's good if you use it with a good heart. But on the other side, And the way I see it, as I see everything, there's always someone that wants to make it bad.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We see it everywhere now. Liberal media, they're rich,
Mhm.
and they push whatever agenda, whatever propaganda they have, and they push it in news and in podcasts. In everything we read, it's there. What makes you think that they're not going to use AI to their advantage as well? Or how do I say it? There are evil people out there, right? There's good people, but there are evil people that will use something that's meant for good for bad.
Right.
We don't know the purpose. In every aspect, in every jobs that we see now, there's good people and there's evil people that portray being a good person.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, is AI isn't on the same boat, right? People use it for good, but there are those people that have an evil heart, evil intentions that will make this as if it's good, but the background of it is not that good. So,
Right. Yeah.
I think one of the, I don't know if you guys, I'm sure it's probably AI related too, but those human bots that they came out with.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah. So what gets me is like, that I guess like you said, there's always somebody good or somebody bad trying to make some good bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure this is against God's law, but it's like they're trying to be God by making these human bots, And it's to me, it's extremely dangerous. It's extremely scary because I saw that iRobot movie.
Oh, that was years ago.
2008, 6, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're living in it.
We're living.
I mean, and it's crazy to even think about that. Because you watch that movie and it's like
It's going reality.
these bots took over, and it's like, I mean, not saying that they will, but it's becoming a reality.
They will.
You never know.
I think they will.
It's
Even with
becoming a
Terminator back in the day.
exactly.
I don't know if you remember Terminator.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That
You
was a
remember
film.
Terminator?
Oh yeah, I loved watching that movie. From the womb, it was really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just, I mean, it's a scary reality, but what I fear is for my kids, for the user, because I've told these guys before, that at their age, I wasn't, as committed the way they are, and their generation is being attacked, because I know we had hard times growing up. We had difficulties, but I just feel like today's age is a little bit different. I just feel like these kids are being attacked a lot harder.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mentally, physically, with us, it was drugs and gangs, but today it feels like it's more mental. And I think that's more dangerous because, you can possibly, like this kid, he lost his life because of a mental breakdown or mental battle that he had with himself, and he refuged in the wrong person, the wrong idea,
right,
and he ended up taking his life. So I think this generation needs to be prayed for a lot more. That us as parents and as older youth, I guess we should be reaching out to these kids and trying to help them, because I admire these kids for the position that they're in, because they have committed their lives at such a young age to the Lord. Like I said, I wasn't that committed like they are. So I admire them. It's actually something inspirational. But again, they have their battles too, and we need to be praying for them. We need to be helping them out, trying to be there for them, because it's not easy. I think they live in a tough times, and I think it's very difficult to grow up in today's age.
Every generation is definitely different. One thing, going back to what Brother Hector said, is that there's evil people that will try to make the worst out of everything. And when using these AI, when thinking about AI and using these sites and all these different things that have AI, I think that we should always keep in mind is that there's AI, and they'll tell us that everything is completely unbiased, but at the end of the day, AI was created by a human being that has his bias, who has his goals, who has his agendas, and as unbiased as they may try to be, they will always code their own bias, their own agendas, their own goals, and their own plans into the AI, because and ultimately they want their goals and their plans and agenda to come true. They want everyone to be following their agenda. That's just the way that we are as people. We want people to agree with us. So what what they'll do is that they code their own plans, their own ideals into these AI, and I believe that's something that we should always keep in mind when using it or thinking about AI, that it's been coded and created by someone else that has their own plans.
Yeah, for sure. The thing about AI, it's taken over,
Yeah.
It's taken over. And again, as I mentioned, whether we want to or not, it's here. If you were to see some of the stuff that AI does, they call it deep learning and also machine learning, to where it's basically has to do with coding and the algorithms and all this stuff. If they have an AI bot, they make it read all day. Just different books about emotions, different books about how we do stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
And even though they don't have emotions, if they read a book about it, they kind of fake it that they have a certain emotion. Even when you ask them a certain question, it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
You ask them a certain question and they respond with emotions and all this stuff. It's because that's being fed to them.
Yeah.
In a deep learning, a machine learning way, to where they may not understand it, but through reading, they portray something they're not.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's actually pretty scary when you see how it really works, and that's what we have to understand. And and if somebody's meaning certain things for evil, what do you think they're going to feed that bot?
Right. Yeah.
And if somebody, a kid or somebody, gets the hands on it, which in reality it's in all of our hands.
Right.
We have here, and for example, I don't know if it's happened to you, but it's happened to me a lot, to where I'm having a side conversation with Jacob about bicycles, something, whatever the subject is.
Right.
It starts picking up those algorithms, and the next thing you know, what are the ads that you start seeing?
Yeah.
Bicycles.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's happened to you, and I find it kind of creepy.
Definitely.
Sometimes I don't even say the word or what I'm buying or anything. I just think about something, and next thing you know, the phone starts showing me certain things.
Crazy.
If I'm like last time, I was thinking about a vacation somewhere. I was thinking it. I didn't say anything. I was thinking about vacation. Next thing you know, all the ads that are coming through my phone.
No way.
Wow.
Vacations.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Dude.
Yeah.
That's scary.
That's creepy. I don't know how that's
scary.
done.
That's scary.
Scary.
I don't know how that's done, but I was like, I didn't say a word. And I was like, just vacation, where I want to go next and all this stuff, and just vacation stuff. How? Somehow that happens. But even more, when I say something, that the phone is maybe 10 yards away and it's picking up everything that we do.
Yeah.
The algorithm that the phone uses, it's all personalized.
Yeah.
And the scary thing
Listening.
about that is that all this information is going into a database.
Right.
Right.
And the scarier part is that a lot of the AI that's being done right now is housed in China databases.
Yep.
So if they have all these algorithms, they know how to attack us if that was their plan to do, and that's why information is very important. And that's why when you hear on the news there was an information leak about certain things, people get scared, because if the wrong information gets leaked, they know your credit card numbers, they know where you live, they know your W-2 forms, they know where you went to go eat, geotagging, where you like to go vacation. I mean, this is all information that you might say, I'm just posting it on social media.
Yeah.
If somebody gets their hand on your information, which I believe is very valuable, then it can become very, very dangerous in the wrong hands.
It's crazy how you gotta worry about these things. You know? Like, you gotta worry. Like, there's another thing you gotta worry about in this world.
Yeah, for sure.
It's crazy.
And social media has also made it to where, and I think we do it a lot of times innocently, to where if we go to a restaurant, we take a picture, we want to put the location where it happened. When somebody's looking at that information, it's like, I know what they like to eat. I know where they were. And we do it innocently, but somebody's using that data, can use it against us a lot of times. Like, well, they live here and they went here and this is their routine. This is what they do in the morning. This is what they do in the afternoon, in the evening, all that information. And if it's a company that's outsourced outside of the US, which we don't really think about. And again, this is my IT my IT mind that's really talking here. But this is what we have to learn to deal with, because we have to follow some security protocols at work for a lot of this stuff. To where if I have a work machine and I'm going on vacation, I cannot take my work machine to certain countries, to certain places. If you are caught doing that, you can even get terminated for taking items or information or technology that is not meant to go anywhere because of the data breaches and stuff.
Right.
So all this information is very valuable, and China is very ahead of us.
Oh yeah,
in this sense, they're into this. Unfortunately, some of them want to use that data if there's information warfare or whatever it's called, that can be used against the U.S. So we have to be very mindful on that. And I think that's one of the issues that they were having with TikTok, because it was it was a Chinese-owned company, and all these videos and all this information was getting outsourced to them, and somehow, some way, they're going to use that against us.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that, actually. I was looking up something right now as you were speaking, because it reminded me so much about it. But the app that we all know, TikTok, apparently it records biometric data as we're using it. So to explain what that means is that basically while you're watching videos or scrolling on TikTok, TikTok accesses your camera, and TikTok can see what facial expressions you're making, and it reads what facial expressions you're making.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So basically, if TikTok sees that you make a shocked expression after watching a video, it will show you more videos like that. If it sees that if it looks at your face and it thinks that you've been sad lately, it'll start showing you sad videos. If it looks at your face and sees that you've been happy lately, it'll start showing you happy videos. It'll do everything it can to, just make yourself seem like, the algorithm's showing you what you want. But yeah, that's creepy, because they're seeing everything you are. They're seeing your emotions, and they're seeing everything that you're reacting to. They see how you react to it. And like you said, all of this, it comes from China, right? And it's this scary when you think about it, that basically China knows the way that our youth and our teens think. China can affect our youth and our teens, because all this stuff from TikTok, it comes from China. A lot of it, TikTok is a Chinese company, and being a Chinese company, and they can choose what they want to show. They can choose what they don't want to show. They can choose to show us things that is going to negatively impact and affect our youth and our teens. They can show this. They can show the youth and the teens stuff that is going to hurt them, that is going to affect them negatively. And that's terrifying when you think about it. It's recording all this data and it's spitting it back out in a way where it just affects us negatively.
That's why Trump wants to get rid of it.
Yeah. I mean, China it's a big threat. And from what you were saying, in China, they have classrooms.
They have what again?
Classrooms that have all these cameras around.
Yeah.
All these cameras around. So the teacher is teaching them a certain subject. Let's say you have your own camera. Each one of us have our own camera. The teacher is teaching, and the camera, as he mentioned, is basically tracking our facial expressions.
Right.
To where when the child or the student smiles, it means they actually understand that subject.
Yeah.
Right. But when they see them do a certain facial expression, like confused, or it tracks that, and it gears the teacher to teach them a little better on that subject when that frown happened, and everybody's different, right? But they personalize a lot of the teachings depending on facial expressions, the biometrics, if temperature, body movements, body gestures. You might think, that's cool. It's cool until somebody decides to make it into something bad, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we have to keep in mind. It's like, are they really keeping track of us, right?
Yeah.
And the phone, again, our phone does that. Instead of, we used to punch in a code. Now we just swipe up and it detects our face.
Right.
We used to have our fingerprints on it. The phone would open up. Mind you, that's all data.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Your fingerprints.
Yeah.
Your face.
Yeah.
Where does all that data get stored? Do you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Database.
Some database somewhere. Hopefully it's here in the US. But where are these phones made out
China.
of?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm sure they have certain ways to where it's like, oh man, we got to be careful because all this information, and we don't think about it. This is the latest iPhone, but
Yeah.
that's all keeping track of our data, all keeping track of what's happening with us.
You
So,
think about that, that's dangerous, especially like you said, you know, if it's in the wrong hands and they
Mhm.
know it's a teen or a kid or whatever,
Right.
that person can go in there and, you know,
Yep.
infiltrate and whatever this person is feeling
Mhm.
and attack that way and, you
Yeah.
know, make them very vulnerable,
Oh, yeah.
catch them in a vulnerable state,
for sure.
Mhm.
you know, so man, that's extremely dangerous.
It
All
brings
that-
out-
Extremely dangerous.
All those cameras you were talking about, it reminded me of the. I think it was 2 years ago. They were mentioning that they made this store in Seattle,
Okay.
and that store, I forgot which store was it, but I don't know if it was a Walgreens or something. So you just walk in there, grab whatever you need. There's no register. There's no workers, and you just walk out. So it just scans your face. It looks in the database for your bank account and everything. And they just take it out.
Yeah.
That's, to me, that's scary.
That was in
That's
Vegas.
insane.
I saw a store
you
like
said-
that in
oh,
Vegas
okay.
to where somehow you already have an account with them. It's linked to your account, bank account,
Yeah.
to where you pull off anything off the shelf. It detects what you pulled off the
Yeah.
shelf. You walk in there, grab it, and go.
Yeah. I heard about it in the Seattle. And
I've seen those at the airport, but
Yeah.
you walk in and you tap your card first, and then as you start grabbing stuff,
Oh, wow.
it starts like ringing it up, and then you just walk out.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you walk out, I guess it checks you out, and it invoices you or whatever. But
Yeah.
that's tripped out though.
And
That's-
while we're talking, like, I don't know why, but I just started thinking, I was like, this is just, it's showing us that we're getting closer to the mark of the beast.
I was just
Yeah.
thinking
That's
that right
that's
now.
basically what it's
I was
coming to.
thinking about that earlier when we were chatting
Yeah.
it up. I was
Yeah,
like,
me
man,
too.
well, what about with this microchip? I said, the
Yeah.
heck with that.
Yeah. So I think
You know,
that's what
this is-
they're gonna
yeah.
that's what they're getting ready for.
The world's
You know.
setting the stage right now
Yeah.
for the Antichrist to come in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The new world order
world
is
order.
here,
Right,
you know?
Mhm.
And unfortunately, it's here. The thing about AI, man, it's going to take over a lot of jobs too.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, you got to realize AI, robots per se, right?
Right.
They don't sleep.
Yep.
Mhm.
They don't take breaks for being hungry. They don't go to the restroom. They can run 24 hours if that's what they're meant to be, and they can. I mean, of course, the initial cost will be a whole lot more, but in the long run,
Right.
if they
Right,
can do
right.
stuff more efficiently, faster, it's going to take over a lot of jobs. And we see it now to where people are complaining about how much they get paid. And if they get these AI robots, which we're already seeing in some of the stores, right?
Yeah.
We used to see a lot of people at the cashier registers. What are you seeing now?
Yeah.
Self checkout.
I saw a thing that said that these, I guess the liberals, or they want to raise these paying jobs, like for example McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of having a job now, they'll put an iPad to
Yeah.
take your place.
Yep.
Yep.
Like, because anybody can go in there and punch in their order,
Mhm.
and then somebody cooks it up, and then you're done. So you eliminate the cash register essentially. So that's
Yeah.
basically the same thing. It's just more evolved, I guess.
Yeah, it's taken over, man. And if you complain a lot, the people that have money per se, they'll be like, okay, well,
Exactly.
let's go get a robot.
Exactly, yeah.
And we
Yeah.
have the capital to do it. It might be a big initial cost, but in the long run, we
Right.
don't have complaints.
Exactly.
We don't have to pay them overtime. They're just there. They're working
Mhm.
24/7,
Yeah.
and they do a fairly good job, I guess you could say. But you go to McDonald's now.
Yeah.
There's kiosks
Right.
where
Yep.
you used to see people. You go to Walmart.
Walmart, yeah.
Self checkout, to where the cameras are there detecting to see if you actually checked something out. And again, there's at least one person in the background, an actual live person just checking everything, but everything's happening so fast and more
Yeah.
efficient that it's taken over, and it's going to take over a lot of those jobs because they can do a lot of repetitive
Oh, yeah.
stuff and they can do it fast.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
that's the thing.
I just
about
keep thinking
AI.
about iRobot.
Yeah.
That's all I
That
keep
movie.
thinking about.
I really think they're gonna take over. I know. I remember when they introduced them. I think it was in the Super Bowl. I don't know if y'all saw, but they had a section just for the robots, and they were testing them out. Do you remember?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and they look like real humans.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, they had face
Humanoids.
expressions, everything, but they had the wrong face expressions. They didn't look excited. They just looked like robots. Like they're like, where are we at, kind of thing.
Insane, man. That's
Yeah, it was
crazy.
scary when I saw it. I was like,
Yeah, that's scary.
Pretty intense.
Yeah, we have to be careful with a lot of the robots though, because also another topic in regards to AI is the censorship.
Oh,
I don't know if you heard censorship, and a lot of the liberal media want to censor whatever is not on their agenda per se.
Yeah.
Preachings. Y'all remember during, I think, the pandemic, one of the Houston mayors, I think, wanted like the preachers to submit the sermons ahead of time.
Oh, you're right.
remember
To
that.
see
Yeah,
if
I remember.
if they approved it, because if they didn't approve it, you couldn't preach it that way. Fortunately, it was knocked down, because I'm so glad we live in the United States that we have this thing, real great thing called freedom of speech.
Correct.
Which is in the amendments. I love freedom of speech, not hate speech, right?
Right.
But to a liberal, preaching can be hate speech.
Yep.
Right. And they're able to censor that, and that's what they want to do. And the thing about AI, if they put a censorship AI or whatever, it can censor even stuff that is not hate speech, just stuff that may be Bible based, a preaching, something that a preacher felt in his heart from God to preach about. They can censor that, and it's already started. It's already done.
Have you seen the Coca-Cola thing, where they would go in there, like, you can, how you can edit a bottle and put like your name?
Oh yeah.
Where they would put like, I love Jesus, and then it'll give you like an error. This is not allowed.
what?
And then I love Satan, and that was allowed. Yeah, I ain't seen it.
Wow, no.
Yeah, it was tripped out. And after that, my wife's like, yeah, I'm not buying Coca-Cola no product.
Wow.
Yeah, you go in there and you would type like, I love Jesus, and it'd say, we cannot publish this because of religion beliefs or whatever. Then you go, I love Satan, no problem.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's not surprising though, but
Yeah.
that's one of the things we have.
But that's basic. Yeah, like what you're saying.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Censorship plays a big part into, to me, and here's how I think about it. I might not like what you're saying, but that's your freedom of speech.
Right.
Because if we try to censor another religious group that isn't Christian per se, we try to censor them because it doesn't align to my beliefs. I'm okay with that. For you to say, for example, if you are another religion, a Muslim per se,
Right.
I might not agree with your religion, but you have that freedom, and I'm okay with you expressing yourself, even though it comes against to my religious beliefs. But you have that freedom, because if I censor you, then you can censor me.
Right.
It's freedom of speech, not for a certain group, for a certain person. It's for everyone.
Right.
Again, don't confuse it. Freedom of speech is different than hate speech, because I condemn hate speech, and whether I like it or not like it, whether I agree with it, then I'm okay. It's freedom of speech,
Right.
and that can affect the church a lot, because if we're used to preaching a certain way, certain topics that may not align to the world's point of view, then that can affect us in a bad way, because we'll be in court, we'll be having lawsuits, we'll be having this and that, because freedom of speech is taken from us. So on the news, I think censorship is playing a big part, to where they're trying to censor the right way of thinking, to me, and the liberal way of thinking. It's like, oh, they can say whatever they want.
Right.
So that's one of the things we have to be very careful with, censorship. So as well. So
That's one of the things that I've always not, I've never agreed with it, because, for example, like somebody who's gay, right? It's fine. You're within your right, I guess, but just don't, just like you're freely to speak, allow me to speak as well.
Exactly.
And I feel like there's people, the left or the liberals.
oh yeah.
They want to shut you down. They just want you to hear their side.
Oh yeah.
They'll shut you down real quick. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, we live in a sensitive world now.
Yeah.
Everything wants to be censored. Everything, like, no, you can, you gotta, like, I guess, cater to everyone and just say what they want to hear versus what reality is.
Yeah. It comes back to where they say you're not tolerable.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when we preach it, they don't tolerate what we say.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's everything to you, to your thoughts, to way how you think. But when it comes to me, oh, the Bible's offensive.
Right.
It's offensive. It's not offensive to me because the Bible is what it is. That's what I live by.
Right.
Amen.
But to other people, it's like, oh no, the Bible is offensive and it shouldn't be taught in schools, and it shouldn't be, prayer shouldn't be done in schools, and it's very biased towards other groups and other people and all this stuff. But that's my religious freedom you're talking about.
Exactly.
So that's what we have to keep in mind, that only because you don't agree with me doesn't mean that you have to censor me.
Right.
Yeah.
Agree to disagree don't exist no more.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what's the crazy part? Us three growing up, we were supposed to do our Pledge of Allegiance, right? Every morning, correct?
Right.
So what I heard, this generation doesn't say it anymore. I don't know if they brought it back. I heard they brought it back, I think this year, but supposedly they took it out a long time ago.
Oh.
That they couldn't say God anymore. Like, it's a pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God. So they would have to skip over that.
Oh, really?
So that's how they started. And then from there, they just completely erased it. And they couldn't say it no more. They wouldn't say it no more in schools.
Really? I was working at a high school the other day, and I think I heard it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did. I think I heard the Pledge of Allegiance, and I think if I recall correctly.
I'm just thankful that we still live in Texas.
That's what I'm saying.
Because Texas is very specific or particular about certain things like that, which I'm proud of it.
Right.
I've gone to some football games to where they still pray before the game.
Yeah.
Which I was happy to see that. I was like, what? I still remember. I mean, he may go a little bit further back, but prayer at the pole.
Oh, no,
see you
yeah.
at the pole.
I remember that.
Yeah.
See you at the pole, where it was a certain day, and before that day got started, we would go to the flagpole and we would pray. And I would be surprised about a lot of people that I didn't think they would have a religious type of background per se. I would see a lot of people there and we would pray.
Wow.
And I would hear it on KSBJ. That's how I've always listened to KSBJ, to be like, okay, today is see you at the pole.
Yeah.
Make sure you get there at a certain time, and those people that are there pray up for our nation and all this stuff. So, but
yeah, I remember that. Yeah, when I was in elementary, I remember I went to Condon. It was pretty rich school, and I remember they would be like, "Oh, pray at the pole," and I remember my mom would stay. Like all the parents would stay, and we would all pray by the pole. Yeah, I remember that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That they don't even do it anymore. I don't know. I don't know if they do it anymore.
I don't know. I haven't really heard about it. I know there's some schools that still do it.
Okay. Cool.
And I'm happy to see that, because I tell my kids, if you see that, just let us know what day they tell you, and just be there.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
But AI again, it's tough. It's tough. We have to learn how to live with it, and pray about it more than anything.
Yes, sir.
Pray about it. I don't know what else y'all have heard about it, but
how do you think? I guess a question for you. How do you think? Do you think this AI will invade the church?
Oh, I'm hoping it doesn't, but it's going to play a part somehow, some way.
Right.
Fortunately, hopefully, we don't see preachers going to AI bot for sermon, to where it I'm sure somebody's going to do it, and we'll be able to tell, because every preacher has a certain way of preaching.
Right.
And if something's changed, he's going to be like, hey, are you using AI for your sermons? And we have to be very, very careful. I mean, again, we hear AI, we have to take a balance on it, right? If it's good for the church, by all means, okay. But we have to take steps to be cautious about it, be very smart, and learn to recognize this. As anything, if you see a problem or you have a problem, the first step is recognizing it. We have to be able to recognize it and not use it as something like a taboo subject, to where it's like, no, we can't have it. Because that's also very dangerous, because when we get into that mindset to where no, and we don't know how to recognize it when it gets there, that can be an issue.
Right.
With our younger crowd, with whoever, even our older crowd, to where, it can be very dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I saw one thing recently, not that recently, but one thing that I saw a little while ago is that there's actually a church in Germany that used AI for its service, like completely allowed AI to take full control of their service. The AI completely generated the entire preaching, the structure of the service, and everything, and it was just like a completely AI ran service. And it was in Germany, but I hope that this doesn't start happening in our churches here in America or churches like around us or anything. But yeah, it's just crazy how how much we're starting to see AI that is even coming into churches now, and it's being completely used for church services and everything.
Yeah, that's pretty much this scary. I fear that it will end up coming here. Especially, I think it's going to start in liberal states. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I hope it doesn't come to our state,
Definitely.
state of Texas. I know our beliefs are really strong when it comes to God, and hopefully nothing like that comes our way. Because if it comes our way, then our kids are gonna go through a lot of confusion.
Definitely.
Yeah.
AI is only getting stronger.
Yeah.
It's getting
smarter
more advanced
and more advanced
every day, and it's crazy. Do you guys have Snapchat? Have you ever tried that?
I don't have
AI
Snapchat.
deal? You don't have Snapchat?
I don't.
I have it, but I'm scared to push that thing because I've heard it generates, like it tells you where you're at and stuff like that.
Wow.
I've never used it, but I've heard about it.
Yeah, my wife told me about it that Snapchat uses some kind of like robot.
Yeah,
Some
it's like an
AI
option.
robot?
Yeah, it's like an option where you can press and you can chat with it,
Oh,
and apparently it'll tell you where you're at and all this stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's scary.
I think my brother-in-law tried it, but I was like, yeah, I'm not.
I forgot who mentioned about it's playing God now, like the whole
I
thing.
think, brother, you said that, brother Ernesto?
Yeah, about these people trying to play
Yeah,
God
so
by generating these bots.
so there's a lot of people that wish they could have babies, right? And I'm so for it, right? Adoption,
right,
and all that, right? Now they have these little, they look like eggs. These, I forgot what they're called. And they get instead of it being inside a stomach, they're doing it inside like this clear egg where the baby's just growing.
Oh, kind of like the Matrix, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah.
And I think they're doing it in Japan, if I'm not mistaken, where they're trying it out.
Yeah, I think I heard like the concept behind it. They want to try it out, basically.
Yeah. So I don't know how far they've gotten, but that's
crazy.
It's crazy.
That's scary.
That is
Technology
scary.
as a whole is scary, but yeah.
And you also have to keep in mind the word hacker.
Ooh, we got one of those in here.
Hackers, they hack anything, and if let's say it's something that affects all of us, if they hack it some way, they can really mess stuff up for all of us, in a bad way. So, and there's already, I'm sure there's people trying to hack whatever programs that we use,
our credit cards, our debit cards.
Well,
you can't even go get gas. You get hacked.
Right.
Yeah,
they got that AI that we were talking about earlier, where they generate, like for example, your wife's voice.
Yeah.
And then they call you and use her voice to generate like, oh, I've been kidnapped.
Yeah.
And give me a ransom or whatever.
They did that to my tia.
They really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
They tried it, and the funny thing is that the person was standing right next to them.
Oh, wow.
That's how she didn't fall for it. So.
Wow. I mean, I can see it being used for like predatory purposes, to where it's used to lure kids in, to where it's like mom's voice.
Right.
Hey, meet me here, meet me there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
You know, and the kid will be like, yeah, my mom said this and that.
Yeah.
Wow.
But you know how they get it, right? So have you gotten those calls where they're like, hey, they're like, I forgot what they say, but they try to make you say yes or no. I don't know if you gotten calls like that.
Oh, yeah. Like
telemarketing?
If you want to proceed, say yes.
Yeah. So stuff like that, that's how they get your voice, just by you saying yes or no. That's why they say don't say nothing.
So by simply saying yes
or no, they just
generate
get your voice.
Wow.
I guess they can mimic the voice and then just kind of change it up. And I now that I'm thinking about it, I see a lot of videos that you see reels and stuff like that, and you can tell it wasn't that person, but it sounds just like that person.
Right.
And I'm like, man, how did they do that? So clear. But AI does.
Yeah.
They did that with
kinds of
Elon
stuff.
Musk,
Oh yeah.
where somebody put a video of, it was Elon Musk's face, his voice, his mouth moving, and he was supposedly promoting a Bitcoin, and it wasn't him the whole time. And a lot of people were falling for it. They're like, if you put this amount of money, you'll get this amount of money back. And it wasn't him. He had to come and say like, "Oh, it wasn't me. It was AI."
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, have you seen? They tried to bring Tupac back.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw like a hologram.
The
type
hologram.
thing.
Yeah, I think like that too. Like that's scary. Yeah. All these people, all these famous people, are gonna die, but
Yeah.
they're gonna try to bring them back.
Yeah,
that's
holograms.
crazy.
Gosh, that's scary. One thing I was thinking about is just that the way the AI can be used for disinformation or misinformation now. Because like right now we were talking about the voices, the AI. If it gets you speaking for long enough, and there's a long enough recording of you speaking, then AI, it can just be used to completely mimic and use your voice, basically a whole likeness of your voice. And we already talked about that, but it's not just that. It can mimic your face. If you can give it enough pictures of your face, then what people have done is they've created these things called deep fakes, where what they'll do is you get enough like a video of someone's face or pictures of someone's face, and what they can do is they can basically put your face onto someone else's body, or they can put your face onto a green screen or something, and they can make it look like you're here, and maybe they'll use your voice too, and they'll use AI to transform your voice, and it makes you look like you're there and you're in this place, and you're promoting something, or you're saying that I'm for this, I stand for this, but really that's not you. Really, that's disinformation created by someone else using an AI.
I think that's what the left uses
It
to
could
do
be.
their propaganda. Sometimes I feel like it's not even Biden.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think they use that technology,
it could
and
be.
it seems like it's him talking, but it's not really
They
him.
probably use it for her too, since she's
kind of.
not all there.
I mean, the more podcasts we do, the more they're gonna get our voice. So too late. Yeah. Too late for all of that, man. They got us.
We're gonna see a podcast called Unbothered Bros, sponsoring Kamala Harris. Unbothered Bros.
I approve this message. Oh, man.
man.
We done caught ourselves, bro.
Oh, no.
I think it's time for us to stop. No, just kidding.
Oh,
No, I
man.
mean it's the truth of what's out there,
Yeah.
sound bites and all
Yeah.
that stuff. Because I've seen it to where, let's say, for example, this podcast, we say a certain sentence in a certain order, but they'll take different words out, and then make a whole different sentence, something that we didn't say, but they
Right.
used our voice, and they just kind of
Yeah.
connected all of the voices to say whatever
Yeah.
you wanted to say or whatnot.
Yeah, they started doing that with music.
Mhm.
So they started getting the voice of artists. So one of the artists was Drake, and it was all over the news where he was saying that's not my song, and it went platinum. Yeah, and the guy was like making, whoever made it made money off of it,
What?
and then
Really?
so people need to be careful.
That's crazy what's out there, man. That's
Yeah,
like that's just insane. Like you think that, because I think about this a lot, like because I do air conditioning, right? So we have a lot of like fancy tools, but then you go into like your field, IT,
Mhm.
and there's like a whole like different tools and advanced stuff, and you think that like your trade is the one that's only advanced, but
Yeah.
it's really not. It's like everything's evolving at the same time. It's crazy. Like it's crazy how fast technology just can advance anything. It's crazy.
And
I see
scary.
I see a lot of lawsuits coming in too, with all this stuff, because if they're using your face or your likeness,
Yeah, that is
then
true.
you can sue certain
Yeah.
people. But
Mhm.
the danger of that is if somebody makes a bot that is just what's the word? Not autonomous, but anonymous.
Yeah.
Like an anonymous bot that's doing all this stuff, and they're kind of in the background, right? And then they do something that you want to sue them for, and you don't know who that person is. Then I can see like issues there too,
Yeah.
So it's like, man, I'm gonna sue you for using my face. I'm gonna sue you for
Right.
using my voice in the music industry too. It's like I never made that song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
who did it, even though who reaped the benefit, because I'm sure, you know, for every sound or for every view they get certain money.
Right.
Then if they're taking the money and it's like, well, I didn't approve of that message, then it's like, oh,
Right.
Yeah.
it'll be crazy.
Yeah, well, I think that's going to be everything to wrap up this episode. We want to once again thank you, Brother Hector, for being on to this episode again. Your insight is always incredible. We love the way that you prepare for every single one of these episodes and the way you bring your voice. It's truly a blessing. I know we've heard a lot of people giving us feedback on the last episode already, saying that it's been a blessing to their lives, and I know this one will be the same. It will be a blessing for their lives. So just thank you, Brother Hector.
Thank you, brother.
Most definitely. Thanks to all the team that's here. Not only the ones, the faces that you see, but the faces that you don't. Again, I appreciate it. And again, if y'all see me fit to come to another one, I'll prepare as best as I can to share a little bit of what I have, because it's important. The Bible says that el pueblo pereció por falta de conocimiento.
That's right.
That's right.
Right. And if we don't, these are some stuff that we can't talk about in church per se. You know, we can't really preach about AI in a way that we're doing it here in a podcast way where you have your point of view, you have your perspectives, and sometimes we have to agree to disagree, right?
Right.
But if we don't know about these things, how else is the church going to know?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How
teach it?
Somebody has to put it out there to where it's like, I wasn't interested in it, but now since they brought it up, let me look into this.
Right. Exactly.
For the protection of myself, for the protection of my kids, for the protection of God's kingdom.
Amen.
Right.
You know, every information may not be good information, but it's information.
Correct.
So I appreciate y'all having me.
I know we're gonna see you more.
Yeah,
I know we're gonna continue inviting you, brother.
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you.
And thank you for
y'all.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much, brother.
For
Well,
sure.
With that, just one more final message I want to leave with all the viewers today. I know this episode is a bit different. We started off on a bit of a sadder note, and we just want to say to you all today that if you're struggling with anything, seek help from someone. You know, this AI stuff, it's not truly real. AI is not a real person, and it never will be. It will never actually be able to help you, but we are real. This podcast, us sitting here today, we're real people. We want to help you. This is why we do this podcast, to help you. Your family is real. Your friends are real. Your pastor is real. Your deacons are real. Your youth leaders are real. These are people that you can seek for help, or if you are struggling with something, you can go to them and you can say, hey, I need something right now. I'm struggling like this mentally. Help me. And you can go to them and they'll help you out. So we just want to say and leave you with this, that if you have any needs, then do not be afraid to reach out, because a lot of people wait too long, and then they wait too long to reach out, or they don't reach out at all, and then we see unfortunate things happen to them. So we just want to leave you with one thing: reach out to someone. Reach out to God. God is much more real than AI will ever be.
Amen.
He's much more real than us sitting here. He was before time ever happened. He was omnipresent. God is real. Reach out to someone. Reach out to God. Open your heart up to God.
Amen.
But with that, we just want to say to each and every single one of you, thank you so much for listening to us here today. Everything that we do is for you. We hope that you have a great week. And just to close it off, stay unbothered.
No worries can sway me. No fear can hold me down. In Christ, I'm victorious, wearing love's crown.